Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Barbados and Chile are working to strengthen trade and tourism ties. This was disclosed this morning after Chile's President Michelle Bachelet made official visits to the acting Governor General Sir Philip Graves and Prime Minister Frundle Stewart. Both countries commenced diplomatic relations in 1967. Prime Minister Stewart says the two countries will build on an air services agreement that's already in place.
The joint declaration which we will exchange outlines these areas of bilateral cooperation being pursued between Barbados and Chile, as well as cooperation at the regional level of CARICOM and in the international arena. We discussed some challenges that our countries face.
President Bachelet also believes there are opportunities to assist with the maintenance of the Caribbean maritime environment.
We are discussing of the impact on climate change on oceans, on fishery, but also on the area of illegal fishing, and also on the consequences of plastic on shores, but offshore too. And we are committed to work together in terms of responding and having good programs to deal with this issue that can be very worrisome and dangerous for our countries.
And in what has been described as a timely visit, President Bachelet renewed Chile's commitment to helping the region prepare for and combat the challenges associated with natural disasters. As Lisa Broom tells us, it was done during a meeting with disaster management officials at the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency.
After touring the CDEMA offices, President Bachelet met with officials from Barbados, Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago who are responsible for prevention management and preparedness. And in that context, President Bachelet promised to keep collaborating on projects to manage and deal with the consequences of issues like climate change, earthquakes and tsunamis.
The first one aims at strengthening capacities for local response in urban search and rescue operations. That is with our USAR unities of Bomberos de Chile, firefighters from Chile. And the first training will take place in next September in Port Spain in Trinidad and Tobago. And they will be attending people from Barbados, Jamaica, Antigua and Barbuda and Trinidad and Tobago. The second project aims at reinforcing capabilities to deal with coastal environmental management, and it will take a workshop in Kingston in next October.
A third project dealing with resilience will be done in cooperation with Japan. Meantime, Home Affairs Minister Adriel Brathwaite notes that Chile's engagement has meant extensive training for the region, especially in dealing with earthquakes.
This is one of the areas where we ourselves as a region, yes, we train, and yes, we continue to ensure that we're able to respond. And we hope and we pray that we do not have to respond. It's one of the contradictions in the area of disaster risk reduction and management that you train, but you hope never to have to use the training.
And CDEMA's Executive Director, Ronald Jackson, hopes the relationship between Chile and its 18 members can be reciprocal.
We know of the largest earthquakes ever recorded. We remember the 2010 earthquake and the courage displayed by the people and government in Chile in staring down the particular incident, but also building back better and stronger from that. And it's certainly lessons we commend to our member states and to our government within the context of this cooperation. We look forward to long-lasting cooperation and friendship with the government and people of Chile, and hope that the Caribbean, through CDEMA and its member states, we can also offer some of our good practices to our good friends in Chile.
President Bachelet, who was in Barbados for one day, moves on to St. Lucia. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Thanks, Lisa. A Caribbean economist is telling Barbados, regardless which party is in power, the island's fiscal deficit has to be addressed. For Marla Ducaran of financial technology company BIT Incorporated, she says the level of debt is also critical to Barbados' recovery. She shared the view during a discussion on the economy hosted by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Barbados. The topic, homegrown or IMF designed? What should Barbados' economic recovery look like? Ms. Ducaran is also suggesting public sector reform is key at this time.
No government likes to touch public service reforms because it involves job cuts. The gestation period is long, and they don't yield benefits within a political cycle, and the other government might benefit from the pain that I take in this cycle. So no government in the Caribbean likes to touch public sector reform, but it is one of the things that has to happen for Barbados to get itself on a sustainable growth path. And also labor market reforms as well will have to go along with that.
Ms. Dukaran says the private sector has to be the engine of growth in Barbados. Proposed legislation addressing sexual harassment should be in place by the end of the year. Back in April, Labour Minister Senator Esther Bayer-Suku said the legislation will forbid sexual harassment in the workplace. And now Prime Minister Frundle Stewart has revealed the legislation has been completed. He made the revelation during a courtesy call with the newly appointed head of the UN Women Multi-Country Office in Barbados, Mary McLean. Prime Minister Stewart highlighted Barbados's efforts to address the issue of violence against women. He says since his administration has been in power, extensive amendments had been made to the legislation to give it some teeth. Residents in the Gull Hill area are calling for police to be more persistent in their efforts to combat gun violence there. It comes following a walkthrough of Gull Hill, Caneville Crescent, and neighboring communities by senior members of the Southern Division of the Royal Barbados Police Force yesterday evening. More from Kareem Smith.
Police and some residents in the Gull Hill area are pledging a united effort in the fight against gun violence in that area. Yesterday's walkthrough follows the death of Orrin Moore, who was gunned down on Sunday night after visiting a friend at Caneville Crescent, followed less than 24 hours later by the murder of Sean Omar Taylor of Lodge Road. Many residents there are still struggling to cope with the two last shootings.
Can't feel good. These youngsters that you watch them grow, all them was friends. So if you don't know where it gone bad, we make it bad, nothing so. You understand, but you can't figure about the shooting.
None of the two people should never lost their life like that, because that I got my children and I would not like nobody to call me to show me that nobody treat them so. All told them is my friend, I have nothing against. I am very sorry that what happened to especially Les.
However, led by Divisional Officer Senior Superintendent Euclid Thompson, a special strategy is underway to bring violence under control. He says this walkabout is about more than just the murders of Moore and Taylor, but also about listening to the concerns of neighbors and building trust in the face of increasing violence.
I think it's important to go with people who are at. When you take over a particular district or area, I think it's important for the people to have that trust in you, that they can relate to you, they can share problems, they can share concerns, they can hear from you, and get that general feel that you care, because you can't make people feel like you care sitting down behind the desk. And so it's so important for me and my team here this afternoon to recognize the need for us to engage the community head on, as it were, so that they can feel a vibe from us that says to them, look, they can talk, they can share, and so on.
And the residents are delighted to see police stepping up to the plate.
I feel good when I see the police. I will lie to you. I wish that the police would keep up and down just to stop the foolishness. You understand? Because this thing is so funny that whoever there may have got the scenes in, when they end up, they're going to come and target us, which we are not involved in nothing. You understand what I'm saying? We are not involved in nothing. Because my house got shot up more than once for no reason, right? But I met the sense reporting it because we didn't know who it is.
I feel that the police is doing a good thing. That will help quiet down some of the nonsense that these people are doing. But all I have to say is that each one should be our brother keeper.
Police are calling for a more vibrant return of the police outposts in the area, as well as more activities planned to keep youth occupied. While police haven't yet made arrests for the country's two most recent murders, they continue to remind Barbadians that they can report tips anonymously. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Many of the clashes with CARICOM Festa events could not have been avoided. Festival director Andrea Wells says outside of the changes forced by Tropical Storm Harvey, the CARICOM Festa Secretariat started putting the schedule together since June, based on information submitted by the delegations that had registered by that time. However, she explains once they arrived, issues like concerns with the venues and artists scheduled for multiple performances came up.
A lot of the challenges that we have faced in scheduling actually have been collective challenges, not only of Barbados in terms of scheduling, but of our guests in terms of the sharing of information in a timely manner that would have allowed us to avoid making such obvious clashes. So it did mean, a series of changing and each day changing in consultation with our heads, and that's why we have embarked upon, which is now really a CARICOM Festa tradition, of early morning meetings with heads of delegation, where these things could be trashed and worked out and fine-tuned as much as the information brought to us would allow.
Ms. Wells has described the situation as less than ideal and says Barbados has raised the issue with the CARICOM Secretariat as well as Trinidad and Tobago, who will host the festival in 2019. She says one of the suggested solutions is the need for absolute cutoff times for information to be submitted.
In discussion with heads, many of them were quite apologetic and admitted a level of culpability in this. But while Barbados is the host, CARICOM Festa is not just Barbados. CARICOM Festa is the whole. And what we have is a collective responsibility of participating states. I think that in going forward, this has been accepted by all delegations, and there has been a commitment to work together to make this happen. Trinidad is noting closely, and I've already started articulating in discussion with us and in negotiation with all participating states the things that they intend to put in place so that the next version is even another step forward in professional development of the arts in the region.
Art, craft and fashion are some of the major highlights of CARICOM Festa 13. However, the region's cuisine has been a huge hit. We took our cameras to the Grand Market today to see what was cooking. When we arrived at Grand Market just after noon, Barbadians and people from all over the region were busy getting their fill. Even though all the food stalls weren't open yet, there was still a wide variety of Caribbean delicacies on offer. We checked into Antigua and Barbuda first.
Well, we're preparing dukana today, dukana seasoned rice. We have pumpkin fritters and what else we have? Fish cake and fungi.
You might have heard about it. Their lobster has been a mega hit.
We had lobster, we had about over 300 pounds of lobster, and we sold all in about 2-3 days. Yeah, they crave for it. They had a crave for it. It's very good.
The Haitians and Guyanese weren't quite ready yet, but Naniki restaurant was flying the Barbados flag high.
Barbadian food with some other Caribbean foods mixed together. So today we are having oil down, which is breadfruit and some pigtail. Have some stew food, rice and peas, baked pork, baked chicken, marlin, macaroni pie, and beef stew. So that's about it.
What's the response been like for the couple days?
The response has been very good. Yeah, everybody seems to enjoy what we're serving them today.
We picked out Barbadian entrepreneur Tony Thorne trying some of the region's dishes.
There's this place in New York called Smorgasburg where you have things, stalls like this, and you have all kinds of different foods from all over the world. This kind of reminded me of that. Today I had Cuckoo Village. Yesterday I had a little, something like a fish cake, but I don't even think it had any fish. From Guadeloupe, of course, you had the lobster, which was a hit. I posted a picture of that lobster, and apparently, people loved it so much that not from my picture, but people love the lobster so much that they're sold out until Saturday. So I think the food is really good. I particularly am impressed with Antigua. I like the fact that I don't know if lobster is synonymous with their culture, but I like the fact that they have really brought a different offering that, when you could post a picture and people behave and say, I'm leaving work now to get this, that it resonates with people. So the food is really good. I would encourage people to come down and try it. You're not going to get a stall from Haiti anytime soon, so I think it's great.
Patrons also got to see the live filming of the semi-finals of the Caribbean Junior Dueling Challenge, where young and aspiring chefs from the region faced off for a spot in the finals on Saturday. Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
We listened to what you had to say and tore up the old rules, because losing what you paid for is just wrong. Now lost data and talk are a thing of the past. Only Digicel gives you unlimited rollover data and talk. Just buy and renew your Quick Pick bundle before it expires and keep what's rightfully yours. Never lose what you don't use. Go to My Digicel app to bundle up and roll over today. Digicel.
From August 17th to 27th, the best of the Caribbean's performing arts will come alive at the amazing CARICOM Festa 13 Barbados, and the spotlight will be on the spectacular Signal events. So spoil yourself and come and witness the amazing Dance Caribbean in the Contemporary. Or take in the best of the best at the sensational Night of the Masters Literary Arts Signal event, featuring the works of George Lamming, the late Tom Clark, Kamal Brathwaite, and others. And for you visual arts fans, prepare to be thrilled with 8 days of amazing Signal events at the Grand Salle at Central Bank, the Queen's Park Gallery, and the Barbados Community College.
CARICOM Festa 13 Barbados. It's all about CARICOM Festa 2017!
Peoples, it's the Caribbean Comedy Explosion, Saturday, August 26th at the Sir Garfield Sober Gymnasium.
We national here, Labby Moon Donkeys and African, and I'm here to tell you about the biggest comedy show for the year, Caribbean Comedy Explosion, at the Gymnasium, Saturday, August the 26th. We have got some of the biggest names of comedy from all around the Caribbean and Barbados. Comedians from as far as St. Philip and St. Lucie. So I want to see you. Well, not you so much, because you laugh too brawling, my God. You see what I mean?
Saturday, August 26th, the Garfield Sober Gymnasium. Peoples, get your tickets from official box offices only.
The floodwaters may have subsided in Speightstown, but for many businesses, the losses and cost of damages are still rising. In light of this, they believe officials need to adjust the drainage network there. Rianne Phillips has that story.
Trails of mud along with a few sandbags are the remnants of last week's flood in Speightstown. That area was drenched as Tropical Storm Harvey passed. Some of that water entered Willie Green's music shop and has left him with over $20,000 in damages.
Had some CDs damaged, the flooring was damaged. Had some records as well, vinyl records that was damaged. All my plants at the back, some of them was washed away. All the flooring at the back damaged.
He believes inadequate drainage in the town is responsible for the flooding.
I think basically the canal itself, just at the road here, it needs widening. Because this is the second time since I've been here that I experienced a flooding to this massive amount. And, you know, it becomes frustrating. Every time you go fall, you got to be on your P's and Q's to make sure you don't flood. You got sleepless nights. And to contend with it is a bit, you know, traumatizing on you.
His concerns are also shared by veteran businessman Clement Armstrong. He says authorities have simply beautified the problems of drainage and flooding since the 1980s instead of tackling them head-on.
You look at span in the mouth here by me by Fisherman's Pub, then narrow the span down here by putting 2 tunnels on both sides of the salt pond to receive the same amount of water that was going in front. Then you go up to the round the town, and the hole is smaller than the 3 holes that is there by the Shell gas station. And when you go into the rim...
However, at least one vendor believes proactive measures should be implemented.
This I want to know. The people from the Met Office just get early warning, right? No, we know we got areas down here as they get a little rain that we block up and thing. How come NTW can't come with a bobcat and thing and make sure the area is clear so you don't got that problem? Why not after?
With just over 3 months left in the current hurricane season, Many in Speightstown are keeping their fingers crossed. The issues in the town will be addressed soon. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Thanks, Rianne. Students who received an ungraded because their SBAs were not corrected could have that mark amended if investigations show the students are not at fault. That's according to Assistant Registrar for the Caribbean Examinations Council, Cleveland Sam. Mr. Sam says an ungraded is given whenever CXC does not receive a component of a student's exam, which could happen for several reasons.
The student may have done the SBA and the school may not have submitted the SBA. The school may have submitted the SBA and it was not received by CXC. Once this is established, CXC, along with the local registrar in the country, in this case Barbados, will investigate the matter to see where the SBA is or if it was in fact done or not done. And then if the SBA is done, it will be graded and the student will be given the required grade.
While Mr. Sam did not go into specifics as it relates to Combermere students, he says that's a general policy of the council. However, he's also cautioning that CXC will not do anything to put its credibility on the line.
As an examination board, you cannot compromise the integrity of the examination because as an examination board, integrity is one of our most vital assets, right? And we cannot compromise that for a particular student or a particular school. And that is why the council, since it was established and offered its first exams in 1979, the council has had very strict rules and regulations as it relates to the administration of each component of its examinations.
The new Director of Cultural Policy and Research is hoping that a new art piece will find its way into schools. Visual artist and creator Nick Whittle handed over the piece, which is part of the CARICOM Festa exhibition in Norman Center, to Dr. Donna Green. The display of individually handcrafted monkeys is made of 100% local clay and harvested rainwater. The monkeys depict how slaves were packed into the bottom of a slave ship on a typical journey from Africa to Barbados. Dr. Green says it can be used as a teaching tool.
It tells a serious tale about us, and we can then do our mirror image. What has become of those people? Not that we see what's broken and what has been lost, but what has been retained is also important. And we're very grateful because at the Ministry of Culture, with the National Art Gallery, we're so happy to say that we have it and that now that it's in our possession, it can be displayed with frequency. It's not going to be in a private collection. It's not going to be just locked in a history book. The visual arts transcends language and other barriers.
Well, Mr. Whittle agrees the piece could not only be used for teaching, but to spur a discussion on race in Barbados as well.
My ancestors were probably part of the slave trade. You know, my mother is a Scottish person, was a Scotswoman, and you have to accept responsibility. And so from that point of view, it was very emotional, and emotion in another way that I think in Barbados we have to have a discussion, a proper mature discussion about this history, and not let it become strident, but a proper discussion.
Sir Trevor Carmichael, chairman of the National Art Gallery Board, financed the project.
In the absence of a national gallery, national art gallery, I would like to think that it can be shown immediately, and maybe that it could serve as a spur, as a form of encouragement, as an impetus to those who have the necessary power to make such a gallery, or should I say, to find the home for such a gallery, that this would serve as an impetus for such a home to emerge as soon as possible.
Over 40 performing arts teachers have given up 2 days of their summer holiday to brush up on their teaching techniques. Lecturer in theater at the Barbados Center for Creative Imagination, Dr. Yvonne Weeks, says the workshop is targeting both newly qualified and established teachers from Barbados and the region. Sharika Griffith has more.
While many of their colleagues are enjoying the last few days before their return to the classroom, regional performing arts teachers are taking advantage of a workshop geared at helping them better prepare their students. According to lecturer in theater at the Barbados Center for Creative Imagination, Dr. Yvonne Weeks, the ultimate goal is an improvement in student performance.
Hopefully every single teacher, because we're going to make it both theoretical and practical, will go away with clearer ideas about how to teach the business of the arts and with some more innovative strategies for teaching their subject, whether it's drama or music. A lot of the work we are presenting is based on our individuals' research work, and so giving the strategies to teachers from across the region is going to end up enhancing the teaching instruction in the classroom.
Dr. Weeks says the workshop is free of cost to participants, thanks to a grant from the University of the West Indies. The response to this year's workshop was overwhelming, which is encouraging, as Dr. Weeks believes teachers should undertake training on an ongoing basis.
Those kinds of things always help to reshape you, rethink you, redevelop your mind, to help you to be a better teacher. And I think that's a personal responsibility that I've taken, and I think a lot of artists do that. But I think that as a teacher, we get so bogged down with teaching students and we get tired, and our summer holidays, we don't. I gave up my entire summer holiday to study this film, to do this film course. So it's hard. You go back to school tired. I think it's a hard thing, but you need to do it.
Assistant Registrar of the Caribbean Examinations Council, Cleveland Sam, says the Cape Performing Arts syllabus is still relatively new, having only been introduced in 2014. He hopes that this and other workshops will better equip the instructors and generate greater student interest, which has so far been moderate.
What we have found is that most of the students who have taken the subjects are doing the drama, because you probably have more drama teachers, and to a lesser extent you do not have a lot of people doing cinematic arts and music. We are not sure why. We are going to be investigating to see what is the challenge, but we do believe from some of the anecdotal evidence that it is a lack of resources in the school to deliver the subject.
During the workshop, participants will hear from experts in their respective disciplines, which include business of the arts, drama, dance, cinematic arts, and music. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
After the break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines across our region.
Diamond Dazzler, it's time to play. Diamond Dazzler, the new instant $250,000 scratch game from the Barbados Lottery. Available at select lottery outlets.
As you enjoy the exchange of culture for CARICOM Festa 13, remember these tips to keep the environment clean and green.
Utilize local suppliers for your needs for the production and display of your products or services. Choose local foods for consumption and production. Buy locally manufactured products. Donate to offset your carbon footprint.
Barbados. August 17th to 27th. Visit carifesta.net.
The Mount Gay 94.7 FM Come Line with We promotion continues this weekend. All the back in time and old school vibes you just love to hear on 94.7 FM. Enjoy the karaoke sessions, good food, and of course, share Mount Gay with a friend. You could be the lucky person to unlock the Mount Gay treasure chest and take away over $1,000 in cash and prizes. Look out for 94.7 FM at a shop or bar near you this and every Saturday until August. So come, line with me this Saturday night from 7 p.m. until midnight. Tune in to 94.7 FM or visit the Facebook page at CBC 94.7 FM for weekly venues.
UNICEF says more than 1 in 10 girls in the Dominican Republic are married or living with a partner before their 15th birthday, a figure that gives the country the highest rate of child marriage in the Americas. 11.7% of women currently between 18 and 22 years old reported that they had been married or living with a man before they turned 15. That's the minimum age of sexual consent and marriage there. Minority leader in the Trinidad and the Tobago House of Assembly, Watson Duke, is following through with his vow to swim from Tobago to Trinidad in protest at the ongoing seabridge woes. He will make the attempt on Monday, but will not be swimming the distance by himself. Instead, the swim will take the form of a relay between Duke and Assemblyman Farley Augustine. Other members of the Minority Council and members of the Tobago Fisherfolk Association will accompany them on sailboats. Duke and Augustine have not given a commitment to swim the entire distance, but said they will make it from the Scarborough port to Trinidad by any means necessary. A senior police officer in Grenada was granted EC $8,000 bail after he was charged with 2 counts of indecent assault. The officer, who was not identified, was detained on Tuesday. Police have so far refused to disclose the name of the 55-year-old senior cop, whose application for bail was made by one of his colleagues in court. The police officer was charged following an internal investigation after he was accused by a female visitor to the island who had gone to the South St. George's police station to file a matter involving child abuse. Well, a glimpse into the world of sports is just ahead, but before we get there, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Be very aware of your surroundings as the transaction is taking place. If you see anything suspicious, leave the area and report the incident immediately. This ATM safety tip is brought to you in association with the Royal Barbados Police Force.